What's up guys, I'm SeeJayAre and this is the story of the $400 Zelda game.
Team Canada.
Hey, what's going on guys? SeeJayAre here today with some first impressions of Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. As you can see from the title, basically I purchased the Nintendo Switch like a lot of you did just to play this game. Really, I mean, the launch lineup was pretty weak. I know people have been unhappy with me saying that, but that's my opinion. Just my opinion. I thought the launch lineup was not very good at all. But today I just want to talk about how amazing this game is. Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, like many people, I think the attachment rate was almost 1-to-1 at launch. As most of you know, the Nintendo Switch launched last Friday. And the launch lineup was really weak. I know people say, but the N64 only launched with 2 games. Like I'm not comparing it to a 20-year-old system launch. It's still a bad launch lineup. It did kind of save the day. They pushed some digital titles forward, which I thought really helped. Shovel Knight, I did a video, Shovel Knight and Fast RMX. I downloaded Fast RMX, Fast Remix. That's the game that I've played second most next to this. I've played Bomberman. I've played 1-2 Switch. Both of those games should be no more than $20. 1-2 Switch should have been a pack-in. I had a lot of fun playing it. I think it's a fun game. I played it with the boys, played it with my wife. We had fun. I don't know if I would ever go back to it. I'm not saying that Bomberman and 1-2 Switch are bad games. They're just extremely overpriced. So, and I've heard a lot of people waiting that say they're going to wait until Christmas. I totally understand that. They're probably going to have a bundled price by then. There'll be way more games. But if you're at all into Zelda and you've been on the fence about purchasing a Switch and you're actually waiting, I would go out and buy it now. This game here, I'm 40 to 50 hours in, which by the way, I think I'm approaching my total time played on the Wii U. I'm going to pass that. I don't think I've put more than 50 hours into my Wii U. I played Mario Kart, Splatoon, and actually Wind Waker, the re-release on the Wii U, and I don't think I put a total of 50 hours in. So I'm very close to 50 hours in this game. It's consuming my life like no game has ever before. It is absolutely fantastic to the point where this is actually in the running for my favorite game of all time. You're going to hear a lot of hype. It got straight 10s, and there's going to be some backlash about are people over hyping this game. And I don't think so. I think this is a fantastic game. Like I said, it's easily in my top 3. Probably my top 2 right now are Metal Gear Solid and the original BioShock, and I think it's definitely going to surpass the original BioShock and maybe Metal Gear Solid for me. It's just such a good game. It's so well done. Basically, they've taken a Zelda game and the good aspects of like Skyrim and put a whole bunch of types of different games together. It's an open world game. It's really not. It's kind of similar to the original Zelda where you just start the game. There's no hand holding. A lot of the Zelda games are kind of known for hand holding and walking you through mechanics and like sometimes taking 10 to 15 hours before the game actually gets started. More like 1 or 2, but there's been a couple cases where the game can be kind of slow until like the 15-hour mark, which is unfortunate because a lot of people don't get to that point. This game, you're thrown right into it and they don't really tell you a whole lot. You kind of have to figure out a lot of the mechanics on your own. Don't be discouraged by that at all. It's not hard to figure things out. You find NPCs along the way that you talk to that give you tips, kind of guide you on your way. The first older gentleman you find, this is very early in the game, you'll get a paraglider. You may have seen in some videos, but you can jump off a cliff and you got this super cool paraglider. You can go, glide everywhere, and it's a good way to get around, to climb the top of a mountain and just glide somewhere. He's got that, and you have to finish the first 4 shrines to get that from him. So the characters in this game are fantastic. The story is actually pretty darn interesting. Typically in an open world game like this, story to me is like secondary, but it's really interesting. They've done something where basically Link's been asleep for 100 years. I don't want to get into it too much, but and then people kind of recognize him. They're like, oh my god, you're the Hyrule warrior from 100 years ago. My grandfather knew you, and it's an interesting story. It's been good. I've definitely been engaged in the story. So that's just a bonus to me, which sounds silly that story would be a bonus in an RPG, but I just find a lot of these games, story tends to come secondary to gameplay and like scope of world, especially these open world games. So I would compare it a lot to like Skyrim. Basically, what I've started off doing is I've been going after as many shrines or as many towers as I can. Once you get to the top of a tower, you got to climb this massive tower. It kind of illuminates the map. The map is completely dark until you get to the top of these towers, and then it illuminates the map, and you can kind of get a lay of the land from the top of the tower, and you can actually look out to the world and mark locations that you want to go to. So that's been my first priority. My second priority is actually the shrines, which are dungeons, puzzles. And once you get to a shrine and unlock it, it acts as a fast travel point. So the first thing I did was just kind of walk through the world. And this is how I would recommend playing it, actually. Just kind of walk around, keep an eye out for shrines, talk to everybody you see along the road. You'll get new quests, you'll find new information. The shrines will open a fast travel location so you can come back to places later, which is very good. It can be a little bit tough getting around. You do a lot of running in this game. Eventually you can find a horse, which helps, but you do a lot of running, which is very good because you're always stumbling across cool stuff. Getting back to the shrines act as like the dungeons, like the puzzle dungeons in traditional Zeldas. The thing I love about these shrines is they're short, clever puzzles. I think there was one time I got stuck on a puzzle or in a shrine, and it was only because this particular shrine was just battling an enemy, and it was like, I think it was a major test of strength. It goes like minor test of strength, a medium test of strength, and it's just testing your combat skills in this particular shrine. And I just wasn't powerful enough at the time, so I couldn't beat the machine that was in there. So it took me like 10 tries. But other than that, the puzzles have been very clever, but short, which I like. I don't want to spend an hour in one little shrine. If I can unlock it in 5 or 10 minutes, I'm happy, then I'm on to the next thing. And that's how it's been. Puzzles aren't super complicated, but it still gives you that sense of like a really good feeling when you've completed it and you feel good about yourself and you leave the shrine, like you've accomplished, a sense of accomplishment. So shrines have been great. Trying to think of negatives of this game. There are a few. The weapon degradation. Your weapons will break after continued use. I don't mind that mechanic because it actually forces you to use different weapons, and it has done that for me. The problem I have is they break too soon and too easily. So I wish that they would like give them 50%, 25 to 50% more power or durability is the word I should say. Just so they're not breaking so often, because I'll often find a sword that I really like, and after one big boss battle it breaks, and then I'm done with it, and I might be able to find it again down the road, but that's one thing. Also the rain, it rains a lot in this game, and when it's raining you can't climb any mountains or anything like that. It really helps. It's too slippery to climb, so that can be slightly annoying. Again, I don't mind the mechanic. It's just it feels like it's a little bit too frequent. Other negatives, I actually like the cooking system. Basically, you find stuff in the world, flowers, plants, fruit, animals that you can shoot with your bow, and then you can cook them and combine them. You can eat it raw and get some power back, get your hearts back. But if you cook them into certain dishes, you can get a bigger boost of hearts or stamina or speed, depending on the recipe. So I actually like that mechanic. It is nice that you can save anywhere. The autosave system actually is really good. So if you go into a boss battle, you'll notice it'll save quickly before. But I do find myself saving on my creating my own save often just to be safe. That system's been great. I haven't gotten myself in trouble there. Once or twice I've forgotten to save, and I've done a whole bunch of stuff, and it's really screwed me over. I've had to go back and do it again. On a technical sense, this game, I've been playing it strictly on the handheld. I haven't played it at all on the TV. As I mentioned, this is a handheld console to me and to everyone. Really, it's a handheld console with the ability to play it on the TV. That has actually, I think that's a major reason why I've put so much time into this game. Just because I can have this anywhere. I can be upstairs, the kids can be watching a movie or reading a book or doing, I don't know, coloring, and I can be sitting there for an hour and playing this. I can be outside while the kids are playing in the backyard, play it for an hour there, play it in bed. It's really led to the ability to put more hours into this game. So I love the Switch. I'm going to do a full review on it. I love it that much. I kind of just spoiled my thoughts on it, but there are obviously some negatives to this. I'll go through this in a full review, hopefully in the next couple of days. So, but on a technical sense, this game, there is some slowdown. Don't get me wrong. If you're looking at this game as a portable game, which I think you should, I think it's a portable game. It's fantastic. It looks amazing. I love the cel shaded graphics. I'm a big fan of that. I know some people aren't. The art style, the colors, the lighting effects have been really, really good on this game. I do notice some slowdown in certain areas where frame rate noticeably dips. Sometimes to the point where it feels like it's, I don't know what that noise was. Sometimes to the point where it's about 10 frames per second, which is not great, obviously. But it's limited instances where that happens. So it's not perfect, but by all means, it is the best handheld Zelda that I've ever played. Technically, graphically, everything like that. So the combat system, there's something I haven't mentioned. Combat is great. It's like one of those open world games, almost like Far Cry, where you can you can approach a different situation. You can approach a situation in so many different ways. So if you talk to people, I've listened to a lot of podcasts and they were like, oh, at this outpost, I don't know what they call them. They don't really call them outposts in the game, but basically it's an area where there'll be a couple towers and stuff like that and a bunch of like 5 to 10 enemies that you have to take out. And when you do, you hear the little Zelda chime thing and a chest opens up. So you can approach those in so many different ways. Combat in general. So you can use arrows, you can some of your abilities, you have the ability to stop time, you have the ability to use basically a big magnet and bombs, stuff like that. So you can actually, one of the bombs is a ball, so typically I'll approach a situation where I'll roll one of the balls right down a hill into the enemies, and lots of times there'll be explosive barrels, and then I'll detonate the bomb, and that'll typically bring their health down by 25% before I even start the battle. Then I fire a couple arrows into the situation, and then I get ready for melee battles. You can target the guys individually. You can do your typical or recently typical Zelda sidestep and then the backflip to get away. If you time it right, you get like a flurry hit and stuff like that. So my point is, there's so many ways that you can approach a situation in this game that it really keeps it varied and keeps it fresh and fun. So the combat has been fantastic. I don't know if they're going to update this game, but I would like to see them just cut down the instances of the length of the raining and the weapon degradation down a little bit. That would really help the game. But by the time they do something like that, if they do something like that, I'll probably be done this game. Like I said, I can't stop playing this. If you haven't picked up a Switch yet and you're still on the fence, I would definitely purchase this game. I can safely say that it's worth, I'm not going to say, it's worth the $400 right now that it will cost you to get the system and the game. If you're on the fence and you've been waiting for December when more games come out and you're going to buy it anyways, I can highly recommend you buy it now. You're going to be able to find a ton of used copies of Zelda. These are going to be everywhere. Like I said, the attachment rate's pretty much 1-to-1. So when people are done with this, they're going to flood Kijiji, Craigslist, used game stores. You're going to be able to find this cheap. So pick it up used, save a little bit of money there. But do pick it up. Like I said, this is going to be in my top 5 easily. And I think it's safe to say that this is the best Zelda game ever. It's that good, and this might be in conversation. I'm just saying, don't freak out, everybody. This might be in conversation for best game ever. It's definitely got to enter the conversation. A lot of people are going to say Ocarina of Time. I personally like this game better. But yeah, I think it's approached the conversation to be in a top 10 game of all time. It's that good. A lot of people are going to say there's going to be some backlash against this game because people are hyping it up so much. It got a lot of 10 out of 10s, like I mentioned on all the sites. I don't know if one site that didn't give it a 10. So it's a fantastic game and you need to play it. You really do. My history with Zelda is I've started a whole bunch of them, put like 10 to 15 hours in, and haven't finished many of them. I finished a couple on the DS, the 3DS, but the ones on the Wii, I don't think I ever actually fully finished. There's no way that I won't finish this game, and I'm actually considering buying the DLC just because I'm loving it so much. So go out and buy this game. Do yourself a favor. Go out and buy the $400 Zelda game. Anyways, guys, that's it for my first impressions on this game. I might do a full review on this game. It's actually... I did my first impressions on this game, and you guys seem to really like it. I have not touched this game since this came out. This is entirely taken over my life, like no game has ever before, like I said. So I might do a full review on this. I'll definitely be doing a review video on the Nintendo Switch. I've got a lot of things to say about this, mostly positive. I like it. I like it a lot. So there's a spoiler. So anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, do me a favor and hit that like button. You can find a link to my friend code in the description below, and Instagram and Facebook. You can find me there. I post a lot of this stuff on Instagram throughout the day, Instagram stories, Facebook Live, so you can just follow my thoughts. And sometimes I just turn on the camera live on Facebook or Instagram down here while I hang out. So Instagram and Facebook are in the description below. Thank you so much for watching, and until the next episode.